there's a difference between mental health and mental illness, mental problems. What else do we call it?
Mental issues.
Mental issues, mental incapacitation. Did I mention sickness? Sickness and illness, right? They are two different things. Just like, I'm not sure, I think when I'm looking around, I might be younger than most of you, so I can't say during my time at school. Yeah.
Very quickly. Very quickly. You can make it happen to me.
You edit.
Make it happen. Don't go there. You started well.
So I remember when we would be asked, what is health? You know, in school they would just say health is not the absence of sickness, it's not the what, you know. Similarly with mental health, it talks not about pathologies, not about what is wrong with you, but it talks about the things that we can do to have a balanced life, mentally, emotionally, and socially. Now socially, this is social, right? That you can talk to people that you've never seen before, that you can, their general norms. I didn't need to be told that when you get there, don't start searching people in their pockets. But I must have picked it up from somewhere. Sometimes it can be done informally. Sometimes it can be done formally, where your parents tell you, when you go out, you have to represent me. When you go to school, you have to represent me. They may not say it explicitly that, okay, by representing me, I'm saying tuck in your shirt when you are wearing a shirt, or greet elders, or open the door for ladies, or whatever it is that they say. So it can be done informally and formally. But let's go to the definitions for the purposes of this presentation. So mental health concerns our state of emotions, psychological, which is what most people think mental health is only about the brain or our thinking, but also our social well-being. So emotionally, if I were to ask or to do a check-in with every one of you emotionally, how you are feeling, maybe let's do that. How are you feeling today emotionally? Not just the feeling that people ask. Maybe you're not a good person to ask. Okay, let me pass you. Say. Yes.
What's that?
It's fine. Excited. Okay.
I'll pass.
I'll pass. All right.
It's going to fall. No, I'm feeling great.
You're feeling great. Okay.
I'm okay.
You're okay.
That's how they get safe.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in motion.
You're in motion.
After drinking kombucha.
I think I always knew there was something there in this drink.
I'm feeling good. I'm
Feeling good.
Feeling fine?
Feeling fine.
I'm feeling good.
Feeling good.
All right.
You're right. Okay, how are you feeling?
Emotionally.
Yes. You've got mixed emotions. Okay. All right.
Pass.
Okay, pass. Name?
I'm fine.
You're fine.
I'm feeling good.
Good.
You're fine.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're
I'm okay.
okay.
Happy.
Happy.
Anxious.
Anxious. Pass.
These are all anxious people. Undercover anxious people. You're high.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about what the answers that we just received. Right? Can anyone tell me what an alright feeling is like? Someone who's alright, who says, I'm feeling alright. How is an alright person?
Okay, I said that.
Yeah.
I think by that I mean I'm not
I'm not anxious. I'm not worried. I'm not. I think I'm not negative. I'm not negative.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I think what alright means to me when I say I'm
Alright, okay. Yeah, so why I'm bringing that up is that we ascribe certain words or certain acceptable ways of communicating with each other as feelings. And we are the most, men are culprits of this. We don't really identify our feelings correctly. I was happy to get anxious because yes, that's a feeling, and happy is a feeling, right? But when you say I'm okay, I'm not sure. Are you okay with me asking you the question? Or okay with what? I can't peg you, right? So it's also good. We will talk about how to identify emotions as we go on, but also. Mental health also concerns the psychological, which I've said is what we often think it's all about. Psychological is how we think, how we perceive, how we receive information, but also how we process it. Right? I can come here and I can stand up here and say, oh yeah, let me use the example that I used before. I'm older than everyone here. And you heard what was said. This presentation might just end quicker than we had planned, right? So it's the ability to transfer information or to make sense of information that is communicated through our brains. And that will help also in problem solving, in thinking of options, in also helping yourself live a balanced life. There are things that we can do, there are things that we can't do emotionally and mentally. So it's important as you think about mental health, not only to think about, I'm sure if it was you or someone after you who taught us about mental issues, and you were saying, who knows, what if we who say are normal are just that we are in the majority? And we assume that because we are in the majority, then we are what? Mentally okay. Mentally fine, mentally fit. What if the mentally fit ones are those ones because they are only in the minority? So that brought me to think that maybe we need to say we are normal in this space according to how we define it ourselves. So we can't say I'm absolutely normal to everyone, because you might go, let's say I'm an extrovert. I talk too much, I'm loud, I'm everywhere. I get into a space of introverts. People who just would like to nod and smile and never say a word, but they are not angry. There's nothing that is affecting their emotions. All right. But also, the most interesting one for me is the social well-being of mental health. How are you socially? When you look at a person, when you are in spaces where in church, because this is a church background, when you are in church, when you look at other brethren, what's going on in your mind? Do you feel like greeting the brother, knowing how their week was, or sharing what you experienced during the week, or just being there for other people? It's not a quality that we really put much emphasis on when we talk about mental health, but it has become very necessary, especially during this time that we're living of pandemics. We've seen the value of being with others. After holding meetings on Zoom and Teams, you do realize that, you know what, maybe I really need to sit with human beings, like, look at someone, who would either be wiping their face, using their fingers as a toothpick in a meeting, and previously it would be something that you're like, I don't like his behavior. But when you're on Zoom and Teams, where someone will either put a background or they would just have taken the video off. So those are the things that socially we need to be aware of. And mental health is about investing in these little things that we often don't think about because they are for the common good. The same as health in general, where we don't go and eat poison on purpose. We know we don't have to consume certain things. It's the same thing with mental health. There are certain things that we do not have to consume. Some we consume passively. You don't really realize that you are internalizing some things from around the environment that you are in. Or you are bringing in the young generation, the 2000s, you say you're bringing in a certain vibe into an environment. You know, you love being feared. Let me give an example. When you get home, everyone just falls into line. Even the dogs and cockroaches and everything in the house knows the father is here. Let's fall in line. You know. Subconsciously you are fine with that because it may be authority to you, but you may be planting a seed in your kids where if in a different environment than you are, they would be susceptible to abuse and bullying in school. Because they always know this figure that when this figure appears, we all disappear. I know of a case where when they had the gate opening, some get sick, some go to bed, and others start just rehearsing. How am I going to explain this when he asks? And if he then does not ask, then the kids are forever in limbo. They are waiting for that moment, you know, like how some people interpret the God that we worship. That is like he's just waiting there and thinking, when is he going to mess up? I'm waiting for him to mess up, right? So these are the things that we plant in people's minds to the point that they internalize it, and once they internalize it, it builds and is sustained into being part of who they are. So you wonder, this person does not stick in relationships, right? It's because he's constantly waiting for the time that he's going to be disappointed in this relationship because of what was planted in them, that no relationship subsists between me and any other person. But also, mental health affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. I'm not saying if you see someone who's happy and jumping around, then there's something wrong with them. But it does tell or show us the level to which you are aware of the things that you are doing. So how I feel when someone insults me and how I act because of someone who has insulted me informs myself about the mental health issues that may be affecting me. But it also determines how we handle stress, how we relate to others, and how we make choices. Have you ever done taken a certain decision, and when you are reviewing it and you're like, I wonder what I was thinking when I was doing this, or was I under some influence of kombucha? It's not me alone. It's not me. There must have been something that propelled me to do this. So that's the power of mental health. But also, it is important at every stage of our life. There's never a time that you say, oh no, I'll take a break on mental health, I'll think about it when I get older. Or even a child, as a small child, they also, with the support of us as parents or as guardians, we need to invest in their mental health. How do we do that with kids? How do we do that with adolescents? And how do we do that with adults? I've had parents and I've sat with parents in counseling, and the parent tells you that, you know, these teenagers are a problem. And you try and say, okay, let's explain what part of them is a problem. Is it just them being teenagers that is a problem? And the parent cannot explain further than just saying, they are a problem. I'm like, okay, ma'am, I understand. They are a problem. Now let's talk about the problem part so that we can see if there are solutions to it, or it's something that, like you said, we teach people to accept certain things or change their minds. So maybe there's no solution to this right now, or the solution lies in me and you talking until we get to the part where we say, maybe we can do this. Because they are humans, we can't say we can throw them away. So what is that? And you find that the parents struggle to identify exactly why. I've found that is oftentimes we are not specific with things that we are experiencing. My child is a problem because they come home late when I've told them about the dangers of living in Johannesburg. Their transport drops them at home at 4 o'clock, but between the transport and the home, the gate, they just vanish. You have correctly identified what you are saying they are a problem about. Now, when you identify it that way, you are closer to getting a solution to it. Because instead of me just thinking this child is a problem, I think they're a problem at school, they're a problem at church, they're a problem to their neighbors, they steal, they do. I do not have all that information. So how we make decisions and how we interpret some of the challenges that we face with each and every child or level or adult. This also translates to marriage. It translates to marriage. Sometimes you may be fighting and only realize that you're not even fighting about the issue. You're not just fighting from different corners. It's just that you told me that I must mind my, let me use an example of myself. I was talking to this guy, he says to me, I have a problem with this wife. I just got married. I have a problem with this wife. She thinks I'm a child. The other day I had just finished.
They all get married. They're all children.
So he's like, the other day I was coming from a shower and she was following me and saying I'm dripping water. What do you expect when I'm coming out of a shower? And I say to him, okay, were you still in the shower when you were dripping? He's like, no, I was walking around. I actually realized that I left the towel in the sitting room, but I wanted to go and change in the extra room. So I said, okay, in that process when she was saying that, did you see anything wrong with what you were doing? He says, no. What do you expect? Then I said, okay, tell me something. What is it that she was not happy about? She says, I was dripping the water on the floor. I said, was there water on the floor? He says, yes, but I was bathing. So it was quite interesting for me that there is an issue, which is the water, which is also something that anyone would know that if you leave water on the floor, you may trip and fall, but we were not there. We were focusing on the fact that she is telling me and I am saying I was in the shower. So both these people are right in how they're looking at the thing, but they've forgotten the issue that is at hand. So how we interpret and how we deal with certain things, especially when we do not agree. It's oftentimes when we do not agree. When I think I am right and she thinks she is right. All right? But also, the last part is mental health helps you to enjoy life and create a balance in your life. Just like we were told in these stations about where we need to tweak, where we need to adjust, where we need to improve, and all those things. It's the same thing. Mental health exists to balance things out. Now, I would be lying to you if I say your life is going to be well through and through. No, it will be bad sometimes, but it's the ability to rise. Brethren, I will switch off my phone, delete every account, anything, and go for counseling, because I do not know how to live with so much money. But none of us think about that and how it alters. And we even laugh at this. There's a new show, I've seen it trending, how I blew it or something. And we often laugh at those people. But the truth is that it has not happened to us. And my amount is not the same as his. He may be able to deal with €1 million. My brother, you may be able to deal with €1 billion. But the brother next to you might say, hey, for me it's not even, it doesn't have to be $1 million. 10,000 will cause me to forget. There's a pastor that I like, he says, you just bought a new VW and you've lost your birthright. You drive so fast in that car, running away from the provider of the car. Christ is standing there, you are running that way. That tells you that as human beings, our minds, sometimes we need to pause and go for professional help, just like we sometimes go to doctors and nurses. I don't like them. They prick you, they inject you and all, they tell you serious stuff, and you get out there and you're thinking you're dying, and then God sustains you, and then you say, I did not die. Let me go back to my old habits, right? They tell you don't drink kombucha, you drink it, and then you see you are spared for a week. All right? So it is important for our mental health to check in with a professional. We are blessed in our church to have these people in our midst. And if it's church people, we often encourage them not to charge you, because I think they get paid well when they charge others from outside. So if you see Brother Nika, he knows all of us. And I will know other people that he does not know. But there's a network of people that can help with mental health. We trialed it in our church during COVID, just giving people random calls and just assessing and checking where they are. And it was amazing to realize that a lot of people needed that, but they did not know where to go. Sometimes you may not even be helped by me, but I would know where you can get help, preferably for free. And if really there's need, you can also talk to me and other people. So get help when you need it. Yes.
We often have periodical medical checks.
Yes.
And I've just realized, as you're talking now, that maybe one needs to consult on mental health on a regular basis. So maybe once in 2 years, once in a year. And I've never thought of it that way before.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yes. As with any health issues, you may say, no, I'm fine, I don't feel a headache or anything, but you sometimes just have to go and do some checks. Fortunately, also with the health workers, they remind us from time to time, or when you are in this threshold, in this age bracket as a man, go and do checks on this. If you're on medical aid, they would also remind you of certain things. We need to do the same. Can I stretch it? I hope there's no one who's not married here. Is there?
Yeah. Yes, this boy.
This, which one?
This one.
The one in blue. Okay. Also, oh, and him.
Yeah, that one is.
Oh, those two. All right.
You want them to stand up?
No. I do not want them to stand up. Can I stretch it further to them? You also do have to check mental health issues when you're dating or courting and preparing for marriage. I'm not saying you use it to discriminate and say, my sister, your wires do not seem to connect well, or sometimes there are sparks here and there. But also, it is good enough so that you can pick up certain traits that can be worked on and corrected. But it can also help us to determine if someone will have a violent future. Because some of our children, some of our girls, some of our sisters are in violent relationships, domestic violence, intimate partner violence, because of things that we overlooked during courtship. And very few pastors delve into that. They delve into the chastity part and the whole Christian things, but we neglect the mental part. We need to do those assessments. Sometimes you don't even need to do professional work. It's just by identifying with your partner that, you know what, whenever we are broke or whenever we do not have money to go to Santin, and I am saying, I would really love us to go out and drink kombucha in Santin. Sorry, kombucha is going to feature because it's fascinating. You get violent, or your responses sometimes make me even doubt that you love me, you know. But we are so hard pressed to get married that we close our eyes to that. So it is necessary to do that. Thank you for your comment. To do it regularly. With that, fortunately, there is no limit. I know people that have been in therapy since they were kids. It doesn't have to be therapeutic. Sometimes you just have to talk. I know from the black community, you only talk to your uncles and aunties when you've done something wrong, and your dad is like, I'm not talking to this boy. Go to your aunt, you know. And when you get to your aunt is torn in between honoring her brother and spoiling a nephew or niece. So we need professional help, and we need platforms like this on a regular basis. Feature them in our studies. Make it fun. I know my team, we often have a moment where I just say, hey gents, think about this. I've seen a trend that is happening. Oh, I just pricked myself. Interesting. Maybe they should have been using this. So you need to ensure that as you go about your life, you're going about in a balanced way. Just like we say, eat your fiber, drink your water. Oh, that's so thoughtful. Yeah, mental health is at play. All right, thank you. So you need to be thinking about those things, but also make them your daily routine. Just practicing some things that do not need you to go and consult. But also connecting with other people. I know people say, no, I like my own space. It's unhealthy. Yes,